Team JQ. All right, today I want to do something a little bit different. Today we're going to give you Bayou Buzz Northshore Real Estate Market Update, National, Slidell, Mandeville, and Covington. Instead of repeating all the national headlines, I want to explain to you what the national housing market is saying and what it actually means here on the North Shore. Because if you live in Slidell, Mandeville, or Covington, your market doesn't behave like the national average. And heading into January, February of 2026, those differences matter more than they have in years. So what we're going to walk through, what's happening nationally, how that translates locally, and what that means specifically for buyers and sellers in each of these three markets. No hype and no fear, just clarity. Let's start with the national picture. Across the U.S., housing market is finally stabilizing. No booming, no crashing, stabilizing. And here's what that really means. Mortgage rates are expected to trend modestly lower, but not dramatically. Remember that, modestly, but not dramatically. Inventory is rebuilding, but the country is still undersupplied overall. House price is slowing, which actually is healthy. And wages are finally beginning to outpace home price growth, which helps affordability. Buyers nationally are more patient, more educated, and far more payment focused than they have been for years. National sellers are no longer getting rewarded for optimism. Pricing accuracy now matters. Now let's talk about why that plays out very, very differently on the North Shore. National data set expectations, but local data determines results. North Shore is not one market. It's a collection of very different micro markets. Slidell behaves differently than Covington. Covington behaves differently than Mandeville. And all three behave differently than the national average. So let's break them down one by one. Let's start with Slidell. Slidell is the most price sensitive of the three markets, and it mirrors the national trends more closely, but not quite exactly. Here's what the last 12 months show. Slidell had 1,191 sales. The median price was about $245,000. The average days on market was around 75 days, with a median of 52 days. And the absorption rate was roughly 13% per month. So what does that tell us? Slidell is a balanced market. Homes are selling, but not instantly. Buyers have options. Sellers have competition. Let me say that again. Buyers have options and sellers have competition. Neighborhoods like Eden Isles, Palm Lake, and Crossgates continue to perform better than Slidell's averages as a whole. What that means for sellers in Slidell, if you're selling, you must price it correctly from day one. Let's say that again. You must price it correctly from day one. Homes that hit the market overpriced don't just sit, they lose momentum. The strongest buyer activity happens in the first 2 to 3 weeks. If you miss that window, price reductions later rarely create urgency. Strategy beats hope in this market. What that means for Slidell buyers, if you're buying in Slidell, you have leverage, especially on homes that have been sitting. You're not competing with national buyers. You're not competing with local value shoppers. This is one of the healthiest buying environments Slidell has seen in years. Now, let's talk about Mandeville, which behaves totally different. Mandeville remains one of the strongest supply-constrained markets on the North Shore. Here are the numbers. Mandeville saw 666 closed sales over the last year. The median sales price is about $382,000. The average days on market is roughly 55 days, with a median of 33. The absorption rate is over 20% per month, and that's significant. An absorption rate over 20% tells us one thing clearly. Demand outpaces supply in Mandeville. Neighborhoods like Beauchene, Old Mandeville, the Sanctuary, and Greenleaves continue to outperform both Northshore and national averages. Well, let me say that again. Continue to outperform both Northshore and national averages. What this means for national Mandeville sellers? If you're selling in Mandeville, you have pricing power, but it's not unlimited. Well-priced homes move quickly, but overpriced homes get absolutely ignored. Buyers are just disciplined, even at the higher price points. Presentation, preparation, and pricing matter more than ever. Which means more, what's this mean for Mandeville buyers? If you're buying in Mandeville, you need to be decisive and on well-priced homes. You can negotiate overpriced listings, but strong homes in strong neighborhoods still move fast. I'll say that again. Strong homes in strong neighborhoods still move fast. Waiting for national conditions to improve further often costs buyers more in price than they save in rates. Think about that. Now, Covington. Let's talk about it. It kind of sits in between Slidell and Mandeville, and this is the important part. Covington, Louisiana real estate market continues to behave different than the national housing market, and differences matter heading into January and February of 2026. Covington is balanced, but still very competitive. What the data shows, Covington had 947 sales over the past year. Median price is about $335,000. Average days on market is roughly 62 days with a median of 39. So it's in between, like I just said, in between Mandeville and Slidell. The absorption rate is about 15% per month, which tells us Covington is not overheated, not slow, very sensitive to pricing, and neighborhoods like River Forest, Covington Country Club, The Preserve, and downtown Covington continue to attract consistent buyer interest. What does this mean for Covington sellers? If you're selling in Covington, pricing accuracy is critical. Homes that launch correctly within the first month, homes that launch correctly sell within the first month. Homes that don't, they linger. This market rewards strategy, not emotion. Think about that, strategy over emotion. If you're buying in Covington, you have more opportunity than Mandeville. You have more competition than priced homes move, overpriced homes negotiate. This is a market where timing and preparation matters. All right, this is the final takeaways. Here's the big picture. The national market sets the mood, but Slidell, Mandeville, Covington each tell a different story. Slidell rewards buyers and disciplined sellers. Mandeville rewards preparation and decisiveness. Covington rewards pricing accuracy and strategy. This is not a market for guessing. This is a market for understanding how national trends translate locally. If you're buying and selling on the North Shore in 2026, the most important decision you need to make is not when, it's how. All right, team, if you want a breakdown specific to your neighborhood, your price range, your timeline, here's where real clarity comes from. That's where real clarity comes from. I'm JQ. This is your North Shore Market Explained. Reach out if you have any questions.